Imagine you are buckled into your seat. The cabin door is closed. The plane has pushed back from the gate, and then it just stops. You sit. 10 minutes. 30 minutes. An hour. The plane is not in the air. It is parked out on the tarmac, and no one is telling you anything. The air feels stale, the cabin is getting warm, and somewhere a few rows back, someone needs the restroom, someone needs their medication, someone is starting to panic. And the longer it goes, the more it feels like you are simply trapped with no rights and no way out. Here is what almost no one on that plane knows. You are not powerless. There is a federal rule, in force right now, that puts hard limits on exactly how long an airline can keep you sitting there, and it spells out specific things the airline is required to do for you while you wait. They are not going to announce this rule over the intercom. But by the end of this video, you are going to know it cold, and you will never again sit on a tarmac feeling helpless. And stay with me all the way to the end, because the most important number in this entire video, the exact point at which the airline is no longer allowed to keep you on that plane, is the one most travelers have never heard, and it is the one that matters most when you are the person stuck in that seat. Let's get into it. First, you need to understand what this rule even is, because it did not always exist. Years ago there were real horror stories. Planes sitting on runways for 7, 8, even 10 hours. People stranded for an entire night with no food, overflowing restrooms, no air. It got so bad that the Department of Transportation finally stepped in and created what is now known as the Tarmac Delay Rule. And the heart of it is a set of protections that apply to you the moment that aircraft is sitting on the ground with the doors shut and you have no way to get off. That situation has a name now. It is called a tarmac delay, and the clock starts the moment you lose the ability to leave the plane. Now here is the first thing the airline must do, and it is the one people forget they are owed. Within the first 2 hours of that delay, the airline is required to provide adequate food and drinking water to everyone on board. Not a full meal necessarily, but real food and water, within 2 hours. So the next time you are stuck and 2 hours is approaching and the crew has handed out nothing, you should know that water and a snack are not a kindness they are choosing to offer. They are a requirement. You can press the call button, and you can say, calmly and clearly, "We've been delayed on the tarmac for over 2 hours. I'd like the food and water the airline is required to provide." Those words matter, because they tell the crew that you know this is a rule, not a request. The second thing, and this one is enormous for anyone with a medical condition, is that during the entire tarmac delay the airline must keep the restrooms working and operable, and if someone on board needs medical attention, they must provide it. This is exactly why this rule matters so much more for older travelers than for anyone else. If you take medication on a schedule, if you have a condition that does not wait politely for a delay to end, if getting to a working restroom is not optional for you, this protection exists specifically for situations like yours. The bathrooms cannot simply be shut off and ignored while you sit there for hours. And if a passenger has a medical emergency, the crew is obligated to get them help, not to wait it out. The third thing is about information, because being trapped in silence is half of what makes it unbearable. Once a tarmac delay passes 30 minutes, the airline is required to notify the passengers about the status of the delay. You are not supposed to be left guessing. So if 45 minutes have gone by and no one has said a single word about what is happening, that silence itself is not acceptable under the rule. You are entitled to be told what is going on. And now the fourth thing, the big one, the number I promised you at the start, and this is the one to burn into your memory. There is a hard time limit. For a domestic flight inside the United States, an airline is not allowed to keep you on the tarmac for more than 3 hours without giving you the chance to get off the plane. 3 hours. For an international flight, the limit is 4 hours. At that point, the airline must return to a spot where you can actually deplane and give you the opportunity to get off. This is not a suggestion. Airlines that break this rule can be fined enormous amounts, potentially thousands of dollars per passenger on that flight, which for a full plane can climb into the millions. That is why airlines watch this clock so carefully, because violating it is genuinely expensive for them. The 3-hour mark for domestic, 4 for international, is the single most powerful number you can know, because it is the moment the law says enough. Now, in fairness, you need to know the honest exceptions, because I am not going to pretend this rule is absolute. The time limits do not apply if there is a genuine safety or security reason, or if air traffic control tells the pilot that returning to let you off would seriously disrupt the airport's operations. So in a real emergency or a true safety situation, the airline has room. But here is the key point. Those are specific, limited exceptions, and we just didn't feel like it is not one of them. The default, the thing the rule expects, is that at 3 hours domestic and 4 hours international, you get the chance to get off that airplane. One more honest detail, because I want you to use this rule wisely. If the airline does let you off the plane during a long delay, they are not required to let you back on. You might have to sort out the rest of your trip yourself. So getting off is a real decision, not a free pass. But it is your decision to be able to make, and that is the entire point. The rule exists so that you are never simply confined on an aircraft indefinitely with no choice at all. So let's bring it all together before you go, because this is the kind of thing you hope you never need, and are so glad to know the day you do. 1. The clock starts the moment the doors are shut and you cannot get off, and that is officially a tarmac delay. 2. Within 2 hours, the airline must give you food and drinking water, and you are allowed to ask for it. 3. Throughout the delay, the restrooms must stay working and medical help must be available, which matters more for seniors than for anyone. 4. After 30 minutes, they owe you updates. You are not supposed to sit in silence. And 5, the number above all others. 3 hours for a domestic flight, 4 hours for an international flight, is the limit. At that point, the airline must give you the chance to get off the plane, with only narrow exceptions for genuine safety or air traffic control. None of this is a secret. It is federal regulation, written down, in force today. But no flight crew is going to walk the aisle explaining your rights to you while the meter is running. The people who know this rule sit a little calmer, ask for what they are owed, and watch that 3-hour clock. The people who do not know it just sit there feeling trapped. Now you are the first kind. And if even one part of this gave you peace of mind, do one thing before you close this video. Share it with someone who flies, especially someone who would have a hard time being stuck on a plane for hours, because the day they are sitting on that runway, this is exactly the rule they are going to be grateful someone told them about. Safe travels.